She was poor, but she had decided to give the child €5 a day, as long as he respected the agreement made. Let's see how things went. But first, let me invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss our future videos. Good vision. In a small town on the outskirts of Philadelphia, there lived a woman, Mary Carter. She had been working there as a street sweeper for more than 7 years. Despite not particularly liking her job, Mary found it difficult to obtain other work positions. She was a constant presence in the neighborhood, often heard loudly berating anyone who dared to litter the streets. Ever since she was little, Mary had seen life as gray and devoid of hope. Her father had a drinking problem, and her mother worked at a bar and did her best to get her clothes from thrift stores. After completing high school, Mary had dreamed of going to university, but her grandparents were firmly against it. First find a job, then think about your studies, they had told her. Following their advice, Mary had made the biggest mistake of her life, putting off her studies for a job that had prevented her from obtaining a higher education. Over the years, the possibility of going to university faded, and now, at 55, Mary bitterly regretted that choice. Despite this, she carried out her work responsibly, never ashamed of what she did. She was inflexible with anyone who dirtied the country. One day, while sweeping near a bus stop, she saw a boy of about 9 years old throwing an apple core on the ground. "Hey, kid, what do you think you're doing? Don't you see the trash can over there?" she exclaimed indignantly. The boy was not upset. "That is biodegradable material. It will decompose in a couple of days. Maybe even a tree will grow from it. If you like the video, it would be kind of you to leave a like, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with us. Thank you." "I don't think you do the same at home," Mary replied in a milder tone. "In my house, I see much worse things," replied the child. At that moment, Mary realized that there was something not right in the little boy's life. "Do you go to school or spend all day on the street?" Mary asked, sensing the sadness in the child's words. "Of course, I go every now and then, just because then the social services don't come looking for me," explained the boy, revealing details of a complicated family life. "What is your name?" Mary asked, her tone now soft. "My name is Matthew Seymour, but my friends call me Matt," the boy replied. "I'm Mary Carter, just call me Mrs. Carter," she said, feeling a strange sympathy for that boy who reminded her of her difficult childhood. The following day, Mary met Matthew again. "Why don't you go to school more often? Do you really want to spend your life on the streets?" she urged. Matt, with disarming logic, replied, "Look where school took you to do the cleaning. What's the point?" This comment struck Mary, but she understood that Matt needed help. She therefore decided to do something to change the boy's life. "Listen, let's make a deal. I'll pay you $5 for every day you go to school," Mary proposed, hoping to offer Matt a better future than the one she had had. The surprise painted on Matt's face was genuine. "Are you really going to give me $5 every day? Isn't this a joke?" the boy exclaimed. "No, absolutely not. Why should I deceive you? Trust me, at 55 years old, I don't have time to waste playing pranks on a child," Mary replied with a smile. "So, done deal," exclaimed Matt, and from that moment the boy began to attend school every day. Initially, Matt was motivated only by money, but after a few months, he discovered that he really enjoyed studying. Mary continued to pay him as promised, feeling that she was making the only truly right gesture of her life. And would you have done the same? Would you have continued to give him those €5? Which were certainly not few, given the situation Mary was experiencing. As time passed, Matt's grades improved enough that he became a model student. No one could explain how this change had occurred except Mary. In the following years, Matt went to study at a prestigious university, and for a while, contact with Mary became less frequent. She wasn't angry. She understood that the young man had a life of his own, and he couldn't sacrifice everything to spend time with a street cleaner. Those years spent helping Matt had been the happiest for Mary. One day, while cleaning up a parking lot, she noticed a car she had never seen in that small town. Shortly after, a young man in elegant clothes came out of a house across the street and headed straight for that car. When the young man approached Mary, she jumped. "Matt, is that you?" whisper. The young man turned and smiled sweetly at her. "Yes, it's me. I'm happy to see you, Mrs. Carter," exclaimed Matt. Shortly thereafter, the two exchanged news. It was mostly Matt who spoke, given that little had changed in Mary's life. Instead, Matt had a lot to tell. He had graduated in economics and had embarked on a brilliant career in the business world. He was successful, had a large bank account, and a large house. Tears came to Mary's eyes. She would never have imagined that those €5 a day would transform Matt into a successful young man. In her heart, Mary considered him like a son, even if she feared admitting it. Matt, understanding Mary's emotion, avoided touching on painful topics. When he heard about the conditions of Mrs. Carter's house, he promised to help her. And so he solved her house problem in a week. He took her to a new area and showed her a beautiful house with green lawn all around. "This is your new home," he said with a smile, handing her the keys. Tears rolled down Mary's cheeks, overwhelmed with gratitude. Matt remained next to her, witnessing her disbelief. Do you think it's true that the universe reciprocates the energy we give it, always repaying us with the same currency as our actions?